Look up at the night sky. Now imagine seeing something impossible. Not just the moon, but a gigantic ring stretching from one horizon to the other. A glowing arc so large it would dominate the sky every single night. It would be brighter than thousands of full moons. You wouldn't need a telescope to see it. Earth doesn't have rings today, but that doesn't mean it never could. Planetary rings form when enormous objects are torn apart by gravity before they can become moons. Imagine a large asteroid or even a small moon drifting too close to Earth. At a certain distance, Earth's gravity would become stronger than the object's own gravity. Instead of crashing into the planet, it would be ripped apart. Millions, then billions of fragments would spread into orbit. Over time, those fragments would flatten into an enormous disk circling Earth. From space, it would look like breathtaking. A brilliant silver ring stretching tens of thousands of kilometers around the planet. Unlike Saturn rings, which are mostly ice, Earth's rings would probably contain much more rock and dust. And once they formed, they could remain there for millions of years. From Earth's surface, the rings wouldn't look like Saturn's do in photographs. You wouldn't see a small circle floating around the planet. You would be standing inside them. Imagine walking outside at sunset. Instead of an empty sky, a glowing band would stretch from one horizon all the way across the heavens to the opposite horizon. It would slowly change color as the sun moved across the sky. Sometimes bright white, sometimes golden, and sometimes glowing deep orange during sunset. Near the equator, the rings would appear as a thin line passing overhead. Closer to the poles, they would look like enormous glowing arc covering much of the sky. Every place on Earth would see them differently, and no matter where you lived, they would become the most spectacular object humanity had ever seen. But beauty always comes with consequences. A ring system this enormous wouldn't simply decorate the sky, it would interact with sunlight. Every day the rings would cast gigantic moving shadows on the Earth's surface. From space they would look like dark bands slowly sweeping across continents and oceans. Some regions would spend a part of the year beneath those shadows, others might never experience them at all. Less sunlight means less heat. Entire climates could shift. Some deserts might become cooler, some forests could slowly expand, others might disappear. The greatest changes would happen near the equator, where the rings would block the most sunlight. Scientists believe average temperature in some regions could fall by several degrees. That might not sound like much, but throughout the Earth's history, even small changes in temperature have transformed entire ecosystems. Rainfall patterns would change, growing seasons would become unpredictable, farmers would need completely different calendars, and civilization might develop in places that today are considered too harsh to support millions of people. The rings wouldn't destroy Earth, but over thousands of years they could quietly reshape it. Long before clocks, people measured time by looking upward. The sun, the moon, the stars. Now imagine adding Earth's rings to that list. Their position in the sky would change with seasons. Their shadows would arrive at almost the same time every year. Ancient civilizations would quickly notice the pattern. Huge temples might be built to align perfectly with the rings. Festivals could celebrate the first day their shadow crossed the land. Entire religions might believe the rings connected Earth to the heavens. For thousands of years, they would shape myths, stories, and cultures. Just as the moon inspired legends, Earth's rings would become one of the humanity's greatest symbols, not because they were mysterious, but because everyone could see them every single day. Today, thousands of satellites quietly orbit our planet. They provide GPS, weather forecast, television, internet communication across the world. Now imagine placing all of them inside a giant ring of fast-moving rock and dust. Even tiny fragments traveling at thousands of kilometers per hour can destroy a spacecraft instantly, launching launching rockets would become much more complicated. Engineers would need to carefully calculate safe paths through the rings. Some orbits would become impossible, others would only be accessible during certain times of the year. Space stations might have to orbit above or below the ring system. Future missions to the Moon or Mars would all begin with one difficult challenge: getting safely through Earth's rings. For astronauts, looking back at our planet would be unforgettable, a glowing ring surrounding blue world. Perhaps it would be the most beautiful sight in the solar system. As permanent as they might seem, rings don't last forever. Every particle constantly collides with countless others. Some fragments slowly spiral toward the planet, others drift away from into the space. Over millions or even hundreds of millions of years, the rings would gradually disappear. The brilliant arcs that once filled the sky would become thinner and thinner, until one day future generations would look up and see only empty space. Their descendants might read stories about a time when Earth bore a magnificent ring across heavens, just as we read about creatures that disappeared millions of years ago. Today, Earth has no rings, and that's probably a good thing. Our skies remain open, space travel is far simpler, our climate is more stable than it might otherwise be. But it's fascinating to imagine another version of our planet, one where every sunrise, every sunset, and every night was framed by a colossal ring of rock and ice. It would be one of the most spectacular sights in the solar system, a reminder that even a small change to a planet can transform an entire world. Fortunately, Earth doesn't need rings to be extraordinary. Right now, you are standing on a planet traveling around the Sun at about 107,000 kilometers per hour, while rotating through space beneath millions of distant stars. Reality is already far more incredible than it first appears, and perhaps that's the most fascinating part of all. If you enjoy exploring all the extraordinary, you might subscribe to Beyond the Frame.